is the Black mom and Black son unhealthy relationship. Okay? I repeat, the topic for today is the Black son, Black mom unhealthy dysfunctional relationship. I have been talking about it a lot on my feed, but today I want to talk about it on this live. Okay, so here we go. How do we battle that problem? How do we start to create a dent in that problem? That unhealthy Black mother who has a son and she makes her son this emotional crutch, this romantic partner, and she spoils him, isn't able to teach him life skills, and he grows up and he's not able to fit well into society. He's not able to become a husband if he wants to, or he's not able to become a husband to his wife if he wants to. He's not able to become a father who is responsible, and in many ways he's also just not able to become a responsible adult or a responsible member of society. So, toxic Black mother, Black son relationship. How do we begin to fix it? And it's not only an African American problem. Okay, some people think it's just American, it's just a Black American problem. No. It's a worldwide Black family problem. It exists in the African continent, it exists in the US, it exists in Europe. Wherever you find Black families, it's very, very common. And it's something that most people don't want to talk about because it's a very difficult, complex topic to talk about. But you know me, that I discuss those complex topics because it's only by bringing those topics to the surface that we're able to deal with them. Always pushing things under the rug is not going to help us. It's not going to help us solve those problems, okay? So how do we begin? And I know that there are many people who say, oh yeah, it also happens in Caucasians. It also happens in, of course. It's not only a Black problem, but it's extremely common. You and I and everybody watching on this live or watching the replay will agree with me that it's very, very common in the Black race, okay? So I've discussed back and forth on my platform that how do we begin to solve this problem, okay? Of course, because my platform is mostly women always like to point fingers at the man. Okay, men are so irresponsible. Black men are not responsible. They don't raise their children. They're not there for their family. They cheat a lot. They're narcissists. They're never there. They're not responsible dads. They're not responsible husbands. They're this, they're that. It's very easy for us to always point the finger at our Black men. However, right now, in this moment in time, the problem we face is that there's a pandemic. It's not even an epidemic. You and I will agree, whether you're a Black woman in America or in Africa, you'll agree that there's a pandemic of single mothers who are raising their children alone and single married mothers who are raising their children alone. What do I mean by those two categories of people? Let's break those down. Single mother. You are a single mother if you live in a household and you're raising your sons and your daughters alone, right? That's what that means. Now, in America, okay, pardon me, just, have an open mind with me. In America, it is very common for Black women to have children out of wedlock and have multiple children with different men. It's quite common. I see it in my practice. I'm a pediatrician. A woman will come in with 4 children. She's never been married, and the 4 children are from 3 different dads. Okay? It's quite common. So that is a very complex problem, and that I'm not dealing with today. Okay, that I'm not dealing with today because that's another complex topic for another day. The single mothers that I'm talking about today are the single mothers who've been married previously and they got divorced and now they end up with children that they're raising alone and the dad is just not interested in, in visitation with the kids. He's just not responsible. Some of them don't even pay child support. Some of them move to another country and they just don't care. So I'm talking about single moms who've been married, but they're now divorced and they're raising their kids alone. There's no husband in the home. There's no man in the home. So those are the single mothers. The single married women, that category, we now talk about it a lot now, thank God, because that is actually extremely common. And that is the one that is more common in African women, in African families. The single married woman. What does that mean? She's married. She still has her rings on her finger. She's not divorced. She's married by all definitions. She's a Mrs. She's married. But even though she's married, somehow her husband lives in another country, or he lives in another city, or he lives in another continent. She and the kids may live in Nigeria and he lives in the US. Or she and her kids may live in London and he lives in Lagos. So they are married technically, but they don't live together. This man has somehow found a way to be gone 80 to 90% of the time. He works in another country because he's making money, to fend for the family. He's moved to another country or another city, but he lives in the house. He has some clothes there, but he's just not there often. That is very common. Very common. You don't want to know how many Nigerian families are here in America and they're here alone with the kids, and the husband is by definition in Nigeria because he has a contract in Nigeria, or that's where his work is, and he goes and comes, but he really is gone most of the time, right? Or that's one scenario. Or really the husband is in the same house, he works in the same town as them, but he's just emotionally disconnected. He's just emotionally disconnected. When he's in the house, he does his own thing. He sits down and watches sports the whole time, drinks his beer, and his wife waits on him because he's the king of the universe, brings his food to him, sometimes even brings the water to wash his hands. He doesn't even get up to go to the sink. He does nothing else in the house but provide money. He doesn't help in the household chores. The husband and wife are only together because they're together because of the kids. They're more like roommates. Yes, they may still be having sex, but it's very regimented. It's very mechanical. There's just a disconnection between them. They're staying together because of the kids, as they say. So the husband is in the home, but he's disconnected. Yes, once in a while he may talk to the kids and play with the kids, but the kids can feel the tension. The kids know that their mom and dad are not really a couple. When the kids are young and toddlers, they may not feel it. Yes, they may. Honestly, babies feel these things. There's research that has shown that babies even feel all of this trauma and discord from when they're in the womb. So even though toddlers cannot talk, they're able to experience what's going on. But there are many families like that who the husband and wife are just roommates. They're emotionally disconnected. They're together for the kids or together for convenience because the mother has never worked and she has to stay with him for money. So that's that big category of single married mothers, because by definition on paper they are married, but they're really not married, right? So those two groups, the mothers find themselves in the unfortunate situation that they have to raise the kids because these kids have been born and they need to be raised by somebody. And the father is absent, or he's present in body, but he's emotionally disconnected from his family, right? He's doing his own thing. He's cheating. He has all his babes out there, his side chicks. He just comes home to sleep and eat and he's gone, So this is the dilemma that we face in the Black race. And the kids that are being raised in those homes are growing up with a lot of dysfunction. Okay, did you hear me? They're growing up with a lot of dysfunction, the boys and the girls, especially the boys. Okay, especially the boys. Why? because studies have shown that kids need role models of the same gender in order to thrive, in order to grow up fulfilled as upstanding men and women that can function properly in society. Okay, so if you have a woman who's a single mom or a single married mom who is raising sons and daughters, you will find that yes, the daughters will get affected as well. But studies have shown that they don't get as affected as the boys. Okay, because boys need male role models to bring them up. Positive, healthy male role models to bring them up. Not some narcissistic dad, right? Who talks to their mother anyhow, who slaps their mother across the face, who beats their mom up, who orders their mom around the house because she's the maid, she's the cook, she's the cleaner. That is not the kind of role model men need. If a man grows up with if a boy grows up with a dad like that in the home, he's going to end up like that dad. He's going to grow up to think that that's the right thing to do. He will become a cheat as well. He will become a narcissist. He will become a control freak. He will become this misogynist. So let's come back to the topic. So this mother, this single married mother finds herself in this dilemma where, okay, she's the only one there. She has to raise those children. But the problem is this mother, because she's had the kids with this dad, she's not in a good emotional state. She's not in a healthy emotional state. She misses her husband. She longs for her husband, but there's nothing she can do because he's not there, right? He's not in there, divorced, and he's abandoned her and the kids. He doesn't want to be there with the single mom situation or the single married mom. He's technically married, but he's not involved. He doesn't care. He just has Mr. and Mrs. on paper. So this mom is not in a good place. She gets exhausted emotionally. She gets physically exhausted. She has to juggle working or running a business with taking care of herself, with trying to eat healthy, right? With sleeping well. She's juggling that with trying to exercise, going for her checkups, cooking, cleaning, driving the kids back and forth from school, helping them with homework when they get back from school, helping them with their behaviors. If they get to the age where they're dating, having to navigate all that, you know, multiply that by 20 and she's exhausted and overwhelmed. She's exhausted, unless she just happens to be very, 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 please post your comments and your questions in the question bubble because I'm just going to talk now. Unless she happens to be a woman who has a lot of money, right? Who earns like high six figures in the US or millions of dollars. Oh yeah, then it will be easy for her to afford a cook, a cleaner, a meal planner, a driver to drive her kids back and forth, all of that stuff, which was my situation. Okay, so my situation in the 8 years when I was divorced, thank God that I had invested big time in myself to start a business that was flourishing. I was still focused on eating well, still focused on jumping on the elliptical and working out, going to bar classes, going to Pilates classes. I didn't have as much time to take walks as I have now, but I never missed my bar classes. I never missed my Pilates classes. I had an elliptical in our apartment then that I would jump on and work out for 45 minutes. I had my dumbbells at home. I did not ignore my health and wellness because I knew that if I needed to be strong mentally and physically for my kids and for my business, I had to work out. I was in very good shape, okay, at that time because I had the money, right? And because I could afford babysitters to drive my kids back and forth from school. I could afford a cook, a cleaner. At that time, I even had a meal service. I had this lady who used to bring my meals home for me ready-made. So I had that because I had worked hard in my 20s and in my 30s. I had invested a lot of money in myself and in my business. And my business actually, the year after my divorce, my business went from down here up there. because I had the focus out of the divorce and the help of my parents helping me mentally, giving me mental strength, and I was able to actually scale my business up into 7 figures. So it was easier for me. I don't want to say easy. It was easier for me because I had money. I had the ability to be able to hire help and delegate a lot of my help. Okay, and this is why I keep telling women, stop relying on men for your livelihood, because nobody knows tomorrow. You don't know what the situation of tomorrow will be. You're looking for these men who will be your ATMs, who will be your 100% financial support. What if your marriage ends in divorce? What if, God forbid, God decides to take this man home early? Anything can happen. You're an able-bodied woman. Work for your own money so that you'll be strong financially in case anything happens in the future. So let me come back to what I was discussing. But not every woman is wise enough to work hard in their 20s and 30s to build a business, put all their effort into it, go into debt if they need to build a strong business so that in their 40s and 50s, they can relax and enjoy their business, okay? But those, I'm coming back now to the single mothers, single married mothers. They're physically exhausted, they're mentally exhausted, they have 1 to 4 kids or 1 to 5 kids that they have to care for, sons, daughters. And what happens is because they are tired, they're exhausted, they don't know what to do, okay? What happens is this in most of those homes. The mother starts to convert her daughters into her maids, her house helps, her punching bags, all of that. And to be honest, and my daughters, if they're listening to this, they will know I had some times where I was really down and I probably took my anger and my emotional state out on them. And for that, I apologize to them on this video, and I've apologized to them before, because sometimes I'll just get overwhelmed. Like, why do I have to be alone raising? And I would take it out on them. But we've all gone through therapy, we've healed, we've said, so, but then I even had the financial strength. Imagine. So there's this woman who is mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually exhausted. So what happens is she turns her daughters into punching bags. She turns them into maids, into housewives, into house helps. The daughters have to be the ones who are cooking and cleaning and tidying up the bedroom and doing all of those things. And most of the time, I'm not saying always, don't come and say, most of the time, these women then turn their sons into their emotional crutches. They spoil these sons because, as you know, again, in the black home, in the African home, men are meant to be the kings. They're meant to be this idol that everybody worships. It's just a cultural norm that I hope we can break. And this is why I don't like the idea of when women call their husbands kings, because it's just worsening the situation that already exists. So this woman makes her daughters the maids and the housewives because she doesn't pay for help. Some of these mothers can afford to pay for help, but rather than paying for help, they're spending their money on material things, on cars and clothes and nonsense. So rather than paying for help for cooks and cleaners, she turns her daughters into her help. She turns her daughters into cooks and maids, even for the sons. The daughters are the ones who have to cook for the sons. They have to help the sons clean up. And she turns her sons into this idol, into this emotional crutch. She babies the son. She spoils the son, right? And then when the son starts to date, she starts to hold grudges and resentment to his girlfriend, because it seems like this girlfriend is coming from nowhere to capture the attention of the son that she has been raising all these years. So she starts to hold resentment in her heart for this girlfriend. And if that son ends up marrying that girlfriend, oh my gosh, that girlfriend becomes her secret enemy. Okay? That girlfriend becomes her enemy because that girlfriend is her competition, because that girlfriend has stolen her son's attention away from her. So God help that girlfriend. That was me. I was that wife that I was her enemy because he was married and now his attention was on me, and she did everything she could to draw him back to her guilty conscience. But I raised you all these years. I was a single mother. Then those women, they know how to brainwash and blackmail their sons. They know how to pour that guilty conscience on them. Can you imagine? It's now your wife you're paying attention to. I sweated to bring you up. I sacrificed my whole entire life to bring you up. I did this for you. I did that for you. I cooked for you. I did your laundry. I sweated. I neglected myself for you. So they start to put those boys or those men through guilty conscience, and then the man feels bad. And he starts to believe, he falls for all the mind games that his mother is playing. He cannot have boundaries. He dare not tell her, Mom, back off. This is my wife. The ideal thing would be when that happens is for the son to tell his mom, Mom, I respect you a lot. I love you a lot. You're my mother. That will never change. But this is my wife. I have married her. She's the one I want to spend the rest of my life with. Mom, please, I prefer that you back off and you leave my wife alone and you let us have our own life. You have had your chance, but it is rare. I don't even know of any son who does that. Please, if you know of a son who does that, let me know, because that son must be a different breed, because most sons just cannot do that. They're too scared to do it. They really do feel an attachment and a commitment to their mother, because yes, their mother did bring them up, but their mother is now to blame because she's playing mind games on these poor adult sons. She's making them feel guilty because she's jealous of the wife. She's jealous, she's envious of her. This wife has become her enemy because basically this wife has stolen her romantic partner, her son, away from her. So that's that dysfunction that happens there. And it happens from when the son is young, because the son, again, like I say, is the king of the home. The daughters are the ones that have to do all of the work to serve the son. They don't teach their sons how to cook. They don't teach their sons how to do laundry. Some of them don't even teach their sons personal hygiene. They baby these sons to the last, that these sons cannot even function as men in society. You'll meet some men, they don't know how to do laundry, they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to clean, they don't know how to slice an onion, they don't know how to boil an egg, because their mother did everything for them. And then when these sons get married, those moms don't stop. They keep on putting their nose, interfering in the son's marriage, until finally the woman, like me, I was that woman in that situation, is tired of it and she leaves, because this son, all of the plans in the home, he's running it by his mother. Any decision he wants to make at home, instead of running it by his wife, he runs it by his mother. The wife is just there as just some elements there. His mother, I've even heard that some of these mothers even still ask their sons to take them out on dates. They still want their sons to take them out to dinner, to lunch. So this is the dysfunction that happens, okay? The single mom or the single married mom, she finds herself in this situation where she's physically and mentally exhausted. She turns her daughters into maids. She babies her son, and she turns her son into her romantic partner. And a lot of these men in adulthood, they can't speak out because they're scared to speak out. Number one, it's embarrassing for you to say that I'm a mommy's boy. Imagine a man who's trying to be masculine, and then he comes out and says, I'm a mommy's boy. I've always been a mommy's boy. My mom raised me. She spoilt me. She ruined my psyche. She messed up my psyche. I don't even know how to be a man. I can't even be a husband. I can't be a father. I have to go to her to ask for her approval for everything. She wants to know everything that is happening in my life. How many men are going to say that? How many black men are going to say that? You guys know how proud black men are. It's going to take a very different kind of black man to come out and say that. I know that one of the Wayans twins said that, and everybody's like, oh, his sexuality must be different. Not necessarily. And I'm not sure, again, he may be of a different sexual orientation, but this guy may actually be heterosexual, and he actually may just have been terrified of getting married because he knows that his mother will not be happy because his mother wants his attention. So, when we keep asking that, how do we put a dent into this dysfunction? Because most of my platform is composed of women, all you want to do from now till eternity is blame men. It's the man's fault. Men should be told to be there for their children. Men should be told to be there for their wife. It's the man's fault. Men need to change. Well, that's true. But what about you women? Because right now, at this point in time, the pandemic, the problem that we find ourselves in is that many Black homes are headed by the single mom or the single married woman. So that's where the change has to start from. So I have 4 ways, and I hope you're all listening. If you're all listening, please type yes. I have 4 ways in which we can start to battle this problem. It's going to be a long battle. It's going to be an uphill battle because the women are not going to want to agree that it's partly their problem. The men are not going to want to agree that it's partly their problem. The women are going to want to point fingers at the men, that the men are the problem. The men are going to want to point fingers at the women. But the time has come, and I hope that my voice and my relentless talking about this, that change will start to come gradually, because we need a new Black family. We need a new Black community. This problem affects every facet of our society. It affects our financial strength as Black people. It affects our voice in the world as Black people. It affects how many Black men become criminals and become incarcerated. It affects every single facet of our lives. It affects the obesity pandemic, because these women I'm describing, they're depressed, they're not happy. They eat unhealthily, they don't have the time to exercise, they don't sleep well. So this problem I'm talking about affects every single facet of our lives. The Black family health and wellness, obesity, self-confidence, leadership, financial strength. It affects everything. It starts from the family. So these are the changes that I propose that we start to make. Number 1, I'm talking to the mothers. I'm talking to the Black women. As much as you Black women want me to blame the men, no, I cannot. Why? Because we Black women are the ones raising Black sons. Yes, I have Black daughters. God only gave me daughters. God chooses what he gives us. God gave me daughters. But he gave me an ex-husband who was a mommy's boy. So indirectly, even though I did not have sons, I did not have Black sons, because I do have 2 stepsons and they're white. Even though I don't have Black sons, God indirectly put me in that situation because he knew he was going to use me as a voice in the future to talk about this problem. So God didn't give me Black sons, but he gave me the Black son of another woman who was a mama's boy. So I got to live that life firsthand, and I knew what it was like. Okay? So this is how God works in mysterious ways. And I'm here today as a voice to start to put a dent into this, but we all have to be involved in this. So those single moms and single married mothers that I described in the beginning of this video, here's what you have to start doing. You need to start prioritizing and paying. The key word is paying. Okay? Enough with the freebies. You have to start prioritizing. I hope you guys are making notes. And if you're not making notes, you're going to go back to this video and watch it again and again. Because we cannot keep blaming men. Because we have a huge responsibility in this dysfunction. Women, single moms and single married mothers, you're going to begin today prioritizing and paying mentors and coaches for your inner personal development, for your self-esteem building, your self-confidence building, your self-worth building, improvement of your health and wealth, improvement of your health and wellness, improvement of your weight loss, because again, that's another pandemic out there. The obesity and overweight pandemic in Black women is huge, and it is mostly because of depression, unhappiness, exhaustion, being single mothers who can take care of themselves. This is an epidemic. So let me repeat. The first intervention is those single moms and single married women need to begin prioritizing and paying mentors, qualified and skilled mentors, okay? Qualified and skilled mentors and coaches for their inner personal development, their self-esteem, their confidence. Somebody already says, hell no, too costly, do it yourself. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? This is a perfect example why the problems in the Black community will forever continue. As I was talking, somebody already posted a rude, crude comment saying, hell no, coaching is too costly, do it yourself. You see now why many of us, not me, because I invested in my personal development in my 20s and 30s, and that's why I'm where I am today. I'm not part of them, and this is why the majority of the Black race will continue suffering and struggling, because our priorities are warped. Okay, our priorities are warped. This person that posted that, I'm pretty sure if I looked at her or him, she's probably driving some flashy car, paying for plastic surgery, investing in wigs, investing in things on the outside, and not investing in her inner development. So this is a perfect example of how we as Black people do not value our lives. So let me continue, okay? Paid personal development, pay for elevating your self-esteem, pay for elevating your self-confidence, your self-worth, your health and wellness, your career goals, your life goals, your financial security. Okay? So that you can elevate yourself into such an evolved, high-value woman that will only attract evolved, elevated, high-value men. Okay? You hear that? Because number one, you're a single mom, and I'm sure many of you single moms still want to get remarried, or you're a single married mother and you're wondering how you can get out of that mess, how you can get out of that toxic, hellish marriage. If you're not an evolved, elevated woman who is financially secure, who has high self-esteem, high self-confidence, you will forever stay in that mess because you'll be too scared to file for divorce. So number one is single mothers and single married moms need to put themselves first. And I'm not talking about putting themselves first, buying makeup and wigs and clothes that they cannot afford and plastic surgery and OMB outfits that they can't afford. No, they need to start seeking paid help. And I keep saying paid because many Black women look for free help. And there's no free mentor or free coach who's going to invest their whole heart into helping you. Yes, they'll give you advice here and there, but they're not going to invest in helping you properly. So until Black women can prioritize doing the inner work and seeking paid help to do the inner work, this problem will never stop. Why? Because until Black women elevate themselves into high-value people, they'll forever use their children as their buffers. Okay? They'll forever use their children as their buffers. They'll focus all their attention on their children because they themselves are depressed, they're not happy, they're not fulfilled, they're not where they want to be. So those sons become their romantic partners, those daughters become all those other things to them. That's the number one intervention. Number two intervention, those same mothers, those single mothers, single married mothers, they need to also immediately prioritize seeking safe, positive, non-biased, non-religious, paid male mentors and coaches for their young sons. so that they don't make those innocent boys their emotional savior and their romantic partner. That was number 2. Those single moms have a lot of investing to do, because I keep talking about those single moms because that is where we are right now. Okay? That is where we are right now. There are many black moms who head the home. So they are going to have to be the ones to make the change. I'm sorry, you know, if you keep blaming a black man that is not there, how is that going to help you? No, really. If you want to sit there for the rest of your life blaming a husband that is not present, how is that going to help you? You're just going to make yourself sick. You're going to die young before the age of 40, or you just live a life that is not even meaningful. So the number 2 thing is those same moms, rather than prioritizing plastic surgery and BBLs and all of the other things on the outside and all the flashy cars and things that you cannot afford, okay? You need to start seeking safe, positive, non-biased, non-religious male mentors to help you intervene in raising your young sons. And they exist. If you're watching this video, you don't know where they are. I know of at least 3 upstanding male mentor coaches, but they're paid. You have to pay them. They're not going to mentor you for free. They're not going to mentor your sons for free. They are married men who are mentors, but they only do paid mentoring and paid coaching, and I can refer you to them. Okay? That's number 2. Number 3, those same moms need to model high self-esteem, high self-confidence, high self-worth for their daughters, and being financially independent. Please type your questions in the question bubble, please. Please type your questions in the question bubble, because I'm going to take all the questions, but I want to finish my thought because I did my homework. I made notes. So I want to finish my thoughts. Number 3, those same moms need to model high self-esteem, high self-worth, high self-confidence, and being financially secure and being financially independent. They need to model that kind of behavior to their daughters so that their daughters don't grow up, okay, and follow the same cycle as them. So number 1 is going to feed into number 3. As these single married moms are investing in themselves, they're investing in their financial independence, they're investing in their health and wellness, their weight loss, their self-esteem, their self-confidence, they're paying for coaches. These daughters see these moms elevating, like my daughters saw me. Right? My daughters saw me doing all of these things. They saw me elevating myself. They saw me starting a business. They saw me paying for coaches. They saw me attending conferences. They saw me attending coaching on Zoom as a single mother. They saw all these things. They saw me developing myself. This is why they are growing up to be financially independent, working hard, making their own money, and doing their best to raise themselves into elevated women. So that's number 3. Our daughters need to see us taking care of ourselves, elevating ourselves, prioritizing our paid coaching, paid personal development, instead of us making our daughters our maids. We need to teach both our sons and daughters how to survive in life. Both our sons and daughters, we have to teach them how to cook. We have to teach them how to clean, how to take care of their personal hygiene. It's not that the daughters are going to become the slaves of the sons. So, number 3 is modeling positive behavior for our daughters so that they will grow up knowing that, yes, I have to put myself first. I have to elevate myself first. My financial independence is important. My self-esteem is important. Knowing how to, my speaking skills are important. My writing skills are important. My daughters saw me when I paid for coaches who taught me how to speak publicly. They've seen me invest all of these things in my life, and so until today, they're still seeing me investing in myself. They see me going out walking 4 miles a day. They see me running on my elliptical. They see me making salads. They see me buying organic food. They see me, traveling to rest. They see me reading books. They're still seeing all of this personal development in me. So number 3 is those single moms, single married mothers, as they're following number 1, as they're developing themselves, their daughters are watching. And their daughters, when they grow up, will not tolerate any nonsense from any man, because they've seen their mother elevating herself, and they will be elevating themselves, and they will become women who have high self-worth, high self-value, and not women who are going to be chasing men, or who are going to be mothering men or babying men. You see where I'm going with this? That's the number 3 intervention. Number 4 intervention, and the last intervention that I propose to change this unhealthy black mother, black son, unhealthy dynamic that is messing up and ruining the black family and the black communities and every aspect of our lives, is number 4. Adult sons who are 18 years old and above must begin to create boundaries with their mother. Okay, and this is, out of all of the interventions, this is the most difficult one, because as I told you, those mothers know exactly how to brainwash and blackmail and play mind games on those sons. They know exactly how to do it. So the number 4 intervention is those adult sons 18 years and above, they have to start speaking up and learning how to politely tell their mother to back off. Mom, this is an example. Mom, I love you very much. I love all of the sacrifices you made for me when dad wasn't around, but I'm now an adult and I would like to live my own life. I would like to take what you taught me as a kid and go out there and live my own life. I'll prefer for you not to baby me anymore, not to mother me anymore. I'm going to go out there and look for paid male mentors, safe, non-biased, non-religious male mentors to help me learn the life skills that I wasn't able to learn from you. Because again, I appreciate everything you did for me, but you're not a man, and I really want to learn life skills from a man. And I love you very much, Mom. You will always be my mother. Nothing is, that is never changing. But at this point, I would like you to back off, and I would like to live my life on my own and learn life skills. That is what the number 4 intervention is. And of course, added to that is that man, once he starts to date, if the mother is trying to dictate which kind of woman he should date, or this one or that one, or throwing a fit or throwing a tantrum, like you're now ignoring me because you're now dating, because you now have a girlfriend, because you're now engaged, because you're now married, once their mother starts to play those mind games, they have to be bold enough to create boundaries and say, Mom, I love you very much, but you've had a chance at life. You have lived your life, okay? Please leave me to live my life. I love my girlfriend. I love my fiancé. I love my wife. This is the person I have chosen for my life. Please let us live our lives alone. We are fully grown adults. We don't want you to intervene. And please do not make the life of my wife miserable. And please, Mom, back off. That is the number 4 intervention. How realistic is that? I'm not a man, so I don't know. But it's realistic, it's doable. Is it going to be easy? No, because many men are not ready to do that. Okay, like I said in the beginning of this talk, many men who are mama's boys, who were babied by their mother, they are not bold enough to do that. Number 1, they're embarrassed to even say it out that they're mommy's boys. They're too scared to make her feel bad, because many of those of their moms are still alive. She may not be on Instagram, but if they post something on somebody's comments and there's some auntie or some niece or somebody somewhere that sees the comments and goes to say, can you imagine? Can you imagine what he posted about you? Can you imagine what he posted about you? He was saying that that you babied him and that you spoiled his psyche, and he doesn't even appreciate. So somehow that mother will hear, and then all hell will break loose, and then she will call her son and start shouting at him and crying and say, so you've disowned me with everything I had to do for you. This is what you're doing for me now. You don't appreciate because you now have a wife. This is why it is hard for those men to step forward and talk. But number 4, men, even if you don't want to talk in public forums, you need to ask your mom to back off. and to let you live your own life, because she has had her own chance at life. Because if you don't tell her that, she'll mess up your life, she'll mess up your marriage, and your wife that you love will leave you like I did. I filed for divorce and I left the ex and his mother to go and marry themselves. I'm like, there are many fish in the sea. If you want to marry your mother, go and marry your mother. And anytime I said that to his face, he would get so angry. I'm like, just go and marry your mother. I'm going to leave both of you very soon. Put the ring on her hand and marry her, because really, by definition, she's the one you're married to, because everything we do in this house is based on her instructions. So that's my talk. That's my talk. The unhealthy black mother, black son dynamic. What it's all about. How to start to put a dent into it. Why is it so important for us to put a dent into it? Because that problem affects every facet of the black family, the black community, black wealth, black health, black rates of criminal justice. It affects everything, because if sons are not being brought up properly in the home to become upstanding men in the future, and men who can be functional and law-abiding citizens, functional husbands, functional fathers, the black home will continue to go round and round in that vicious cycle, and we will not be able to elevate in society. So that was my talk. Thank you very much for listening to that talk.